2006 marked the third time the chase was run in NASCAR. Just like the previous 2 years, 10 drivers would set the chase field after race 26 at Richmond. This race of the chase, though, would become one of the weirdest ones yet. Coming into the night, only 11 drivers sat ready to qualify for the chase. At the top of the standings, the first driver locked in is Matt Kenseth, putting up one of his patented consistent seasons. This time, however, compared to 2003, he actually has someone right on his heels. Jimmie Johnson. He's the only other man coming into this race locked into the chase, and really is only fighting for 5 points, the first seed, over Matt Kenseth tonight. He would currently have to cover a gap of only 9 points, and he's over 300 markers ahead of third place. That man, and the first one not locked in, is Kevin Harvick. However, Kevin just needs a mediocre run tonight, and no matter what, he'll be in the field. He's just like Jeff Gordon, the 4th seed. Jeff would also need an absolute disaster to occur for him to fall out of the chase, so tonight it leaves little to gain, only being able to pass Harvick. But if the worst case scenario happens, even if he doesn't fall out of the chase, he could be as far back as 10th. Behind him is the third Hendrick car sitting in the chase field, Kyle Busch. He is only 7 points behind Jeff, and pursuing yet another accolade in his young career. If the 5 team can avoid disaster tonight, Kyle will become the youngest chaser to ever make the 10-car field. In 6th, there's another man looking for redemption, Dale Earnhardt Jr., NASCAR's most popular driver. He's been on the rebound this season. Coming to a track that he won at earlier in the season, coming to a track that he won at earlier in the year, the Budweiser team is looking to not only make the chase, but to start off with some momentum. Behind him is the first rookie trying to make the chase, Denny Hamlin. He's driving the 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, and Denny has been incredible this year, winning twice already. And now, with his little experience, he's taking a no-pressure approach to this chase. He's looking to just have fun and enjoy the experience. Whilst Denny is pursuing his first title, the man behind him and his teammate, Tony Stewart, is trying to pursue his third title, and the first man to do it back-to-back under this format. While the defending champion is in and has had a pretty decent season, he's got to start in the back of the field due to a practice accident. But he isn't concerned. His whole strategy tonight is just letting the race come back to him. It is after Tony, though, that the pressure really begins to be applied. Mark Martin, in his second retirement tour, is pursuing what could be his last shot at a championship. The now 47-year-old driver sits a measly 32 points above the cut line. But in the grand scheme of short track racing, that is nothing. Mark has stated many times that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And tonight could be the ultimatum in that saying. 2 points behind him is 10th, Jeff Burton, the last man in. This journey for Jeff has been a long 3-year burn. From the disaster of his last year at Roush, to coming over and completely rebuilding a suffering 31 team. The first fruits of his success are growing though. And all he needs to do tonight is capture his first ever chase berth, to finally make a return to being a frontrunner. And finally, the last man racing for the chase tonight, and the only one coming in outside the cut with a chance to make it in, is Kasey Kahne. Kahne is probably under the most pressure tonight. He has the most wins on the season with 5, and he's been the most exciting by far. But he's also been the most consistent. With him being the most winningest driver this year, his season has caused debate among the points format yet again. Did not give enough points out for winning a race, many have wondered. While that debate rages on off the track, on track tonight, those 11 drivers will determine who the one man out will be. The one person who will have to leave Richmond in ultimate shame. Hamlin and Burton are on the front row, 2 Virginians, and we go green in Richmond.
To race for the Nextel Cup Championship is on the line. Buckle up, Virginia, they're ready to race at Richmond. And a spot in the chase is on the line. Green flag is out on TNT.
A 100,000 fans watch on as the field charges the opening lap. Jeff Gordon grabs second from Jeff Burton and settles in behind the rookie. Stewart begins charging from 40th, and Kevin Harvick begins attacking teammate Jeff Burton for 3rd. Harvick eventually gets 3rd, and begins going after Gordon. Harvick dominated this race in the spring, and last night he obliterated the field in the Busch race. It appears tonight might yet be another case of happy Harvick obliteration. As Jeff fights him for a little bit, it's eventually inevitable, and Harvick becomes the runner-up. As the 29 car closes on the 11, his crew chief Todd Berrier states something quite profound. He says he would rather finish 25th tonight and just be in the chase, then go up there, dominate 300 laps, and then wreck out and be the single odd man out. The hunger for Harvick though was profound. The last 2 years he has been close both times, and has been able to capture his first chase appearance. Eventually Hamlin relents to the blitzkrieg of the 29 car, and behind both the front cars, there's a race for 13th. Kasey Kahne is crawling his 9 Dodge slowly towards the front, and he's trying to match the pace of Stewart, who's moved to 34th. And as Harvick begins lapping the edge of the field, Sterling Marlin spins in turn 4, bringing out the first caution of the night. It came after contact with Tony Stewart, who just barely nudged the 14. Pit stops commence with both Harvick and Hamlin having bad situations occur on the pit road. Kevin gets parked in, and Hamlin's stop is awful. Truex also gets spun around in the pit lane, and Kurt Busch almost pushes him into a NASCAR official. The race restarts on lap 41, with Jimmy Johnson leading after staying out. Kevin overtakes him in record time, and Burton soon starts attacking as well. 4 points separate Kahne and Stewart this time, and Tony's fight through the field has put him below the line. But as he continues to push, this should help him get back above the line. Eventually, multiple reports begin coming in from drivers. Matt Kenseth feels as though his brake pads are coming apart. Hamlin's in a borderline mess of cars right now, and Kasey now says his steering wheel is feeling, quote, weird. All this happens and Stewart digs up to 27th place. At the front, RCR games are underway, as Harvick lets Burton grab 5 bonus points, and Harvick reclaims the lead immediately. It is with that our second caution eventually comes out. Johnson and Edwards spin in 1 and 2, with Jimmy somehow not hitting anything. Pit stops are underway once more, with Jeff Gordon complaining of even less drive off now. Kevin Harvick is parked in once again, and Matt Kenseth wins the race out the pit road. The race restarts once more on lap 82, with Tony Stewart working up higher in the field now. It pushes Kahne out, as Tony rides top 15, continuing to make his way back into the chase. Jeff Gordon races Bowyer and Kahne for 8th, reporting back to Steve Letarte that the car is continuing to deteriorate in handling. Matt out front now reports everything is perfect, and the brake issues have magically disappeared. Kevin in second voices displeasure about the box-in issue on pit lane, and he is now stalked by Kyle Busch. Behind them is a 6 car, Mark Martin. He's 5th, and quietly doing everything he needs to make the field. Kahne now works up to 7th, making it even more difficult to be pushed out of the chase. And Junior is 11th, continuing his pace. Eventually Truex slams the fence, and again the caution comes out. During the yellow, Chad Blunt and Morgan Shepherd officially declare out, and Kevin Harvick becomes the 3rd man officially locked into the 3rd chase. Pit stops occur again, and Kyle Busch wins the race off. He leads on the restart, but quickly the caution comes back out again for Truex blowing another tire. The field resets and restarts on lap 139. Stewart sits 27th to the good now over Kahne, and Harvick quickly grabs 2nd from Matt. He catches Kyle and eventually goes low, rolling the bottom and grabbing the lead once again. Kahne has now caught Mark, who race on ahead of the great run from Dave Blaney. Junior starts working on the high groove and begins attacking Bowyer for 11th. But during this, Dale is asking for something that could end catastrophic for the team. He's asking for a transmission change, as apparently it's experiencing accelerated issues. From 24th on back, they race hard, as Johnson sits ahead of them in 20th. Gordon has also faded back to 17th, as they sit polar opposites of teammate Kyle Busch, who's on the outside attacking for the lead now. Using lap traffic, he gets him, and exacerbates the mounting hype behind him. Kyle has been notably calm with his crew as of late, and many are crediting him as a possible dark horse for the championship. Back in 13th, Stewart continues his run forward, as Martin, Bowyer, and Junior battle 3 wide, and Dale grabs both spots. Dale and Mark are trying to keep the pace with the 9 car currently, who's driving up to 2nd, trying to pass Harvick. Eventually Burton catches them as well, and before it can become a 3-car race, Hamlin makes it a 4-car battle behind Busch. Kahne finally grabs 2nd, and Hamlin passes both Burton and Harvick as well. As everything is setting itself up now, the odd man out is Mark Martin, by only 7 behind Tony Stewart. They cross over halfway as Kahne begins chasing down Kyle, and they begin battling through lap traffic with Kasey just barely grabbing the lead at the line. Kyle pushes back though, and his lead is saved by a caution for debris. Everybody is seeming quite happy right now. Even Robbie Reiser, who got a phone call from his 90-year-old grandfather recently, telling him to lighten up. Apparently Robbie's been perceived to have a poor attitude, and he's been much more optimistic recently. However, optimism can't penetrate the situation that Jeff Gordon is in now. He is 22nd, and he is accelerating quickly towards the worst case scenario. There's no mechanical issues and there's no accidents. Gordon's car is just terrible, and while Stewart still sits as the odd man out, running this far back in the field is asking for a disaster to happen. The green flag comes back out with 172 to go. Casey Kane gets tangled up in the lap car of Reed Sorensen and lets Kyle Busch get away with an even bigger lead. Stewart now sits 17th, struggling even worse, and now is 9 out of the chase. In third, his teammate Hamlin begins reporting of a sputtering issue, and before the situation can be diagnosed, Jeff Green gets smashed in turn 2.
Kevin Harvick solid right now in 4th place. What a drive for Dave.
We got trouble. 66, Jeff Green gets turned around coming off a 2.
6th caution of the night.
Man, there's a lot of damage in that car.
Sure is.
Green is unhappy and says the 48 car dumped him. On the replay, it shows the 7 car Robbie Gordon sliding up in front of Green, checking him up, and not letting Johnson have enough time to react. Jeff Gordon is now 23rd, even worse than when last mentioned, and Stewart still is fighting, trying not to be the odd man out. Everybody pits and makes adjustments, and Kyle wins the race off, and the 11 team diagnoses the issue to a spark plug. The race restarts with 138 laps to go, and Ken Schrader leads the field with Travis Kvapil racing him a lap down. Schrader's up there due to staying out, and Kyle Busch charges through them all and takes the lead back. The 20 team mid-pack begins to panic, as the handle of the 20 car is gone, and they still sit 9 below the line. Hamlin now reports the sputtering is getting worse, but still has a racy car to compete with. This 11 team this year has been functioning like a brotherhood, working towards the chase, and apparently it all started during a test session, when Denny nearly lost his pinky finger in an accident. The crew spent a lot of time during that, and in the end, it became a bonding experience for them. Approaching lap 300, the race is now actually settling into a run, and Kyle is now approaching the 24 car to lap. Gordon still has a 48-point cushion. The handle of the car has been no help to try and keep him in the race. The only relieving factor is Stewart is now fallen back to 22nd. Tony is also about to get lapped, as Kyle moves Edwards to put the 99 one lap down as well. Kyle now laps Stewart, as he tries desperately to stay with the 5 car. Eventually a caution comes out as Reed Sorensen dumps the 48 of Johnson. Again, Jimmy doesn't hit anything, surprisingly. And now, under a closed pit, the 11 crew begins diagnosing the issues. Under this caution, Dale Jr. also begins reporting his brake pedals going to the floor. And Tony, now a lap down, begins making adjustments. With 73 to go, it's go or go broke. And the race restarts with Kyle and Kevin ready to fight for the lead. During this, Jeff Green gets parked for swerving at Johnson under caution, and Junior's tires are now reportedly covered in brake fluid. He's driving with only front brakes now. The brake lines in the rear had lost all pressure. Denny's team has also found the issue, and it's unfixable on pit road. The wire to the spark plug has melted, losing its function. While it's not an ideal situation, since we're at a short track, the horsepower disadvantage is not going to be that much of a problem. With 67 to go to lead his race, and Kyle lets Kevin take the head spot. In the back, Gordon has found a way to lose more spots, to 29th, and they've just settled with the idea now that they need to hope nobody puts up a Hail Mary performance to make it in late over them. Kyle begins attacking Kevin again, working high as Kevin races low, and Kyle eventually gets him and has the lead again with 50 to go. Kevin isn't done though. He works low and locks the front tires up in the turn 3. Kyle squirts away again, and 38 to go, and now Junior starts fading to 16th. It's the exact position he was told to finish in to get locked in tonight. And now he is praying for this race to be over with. Tony is pushing, but he is trapped a lap down with no new spots to gain, and the clock begins to tick. 31 to go, and Gordon goes 2 laps down. The 24 sits only 18 points above the cut now, and Junior fades only 38 above it. Every person is trying just to hang on as Stewart prays for one to finally let go off the cliff. Mark Martin, who many picked to be the one being knocked out tonight, is currently in the best position. And with 20 to go, Denny gets lapped by Kyle. Harvick still lurks, and now Gordon is 32nd. He is in the midst of a heated battle with Joe Nemechek for 31st. And now, we enter the final 10 laps. Kane is looking like he is going to replicate what Mayfield did in 2004, and leapfrog from being out and back into the chase. The race is approaching 5 to go, and certainty is setting in for the 20 team. The defending champion, not making the third chase at the home of his first Cup win. Before the storyline can develop anymore, Harvick is there on Kyle. 4 to go now. And it's on for the lead. The closer stalks with 3 to go, and he starts looking low. Lap traffic hold them up, and with 2 to go, it's game.
It's just ready.
And you know,
take the opportunity.
And Kyle's going to make him do it.
Here we
down
go.
Low.
Take in the look. Harvick can't get down there because the 25 of Vickers is down there, so got to wait until they clear this traffic. knocked him down on the bottom. He slides up a little bit.
White flag is out.
Clear, 1 to go. Come on.
Harvick gets the lead as they take the white flag. Right now, Tony Stewart still the odd man out. Kyle Busch will get one more shot through 3 and 4. Harvick won here last night. He's already clinched a spot in the chase for the next Cup. Kevin Harvick off of 4. Harvick sweeps at Bristol. At Richmond.
Where are we, Bill?
Richmond.
After Harvick sweeps at a track in a different state, it becomes official. 3 men that avoided black and white the longest last year don't even get to be in the picture this year. The 10 men are set, and Tony Stewart misses by 16 points. Gordon falls from 4th to 9th. And we now know the 10 drivers, the 10 men that will run for the 3rd chase.
We just missed tonight. I mean, we couldn't get it to turn in the center, and all we did was, make it loose in and on the exit. But I'm still proud of this Home Depot team. They've done a great job. We still got 10 more races to go out and try to win. Just, wish the guys that made the top 10 good luck this year.